Did you know that there is a Russian country inside Europe? Let's watch this little video and we can show you.
As the biggest country in the world, Russia is a pretty hard place to miss on a map. Stretching from the Baltic Sea in the west to the Pacific Ocean in the east, the contiguous territory of the Russian Federation is nearly the same size as South America. It's so huge that it borders countries as far apart as Norway and North Korea, and spans across 11 different time zones. But because the main part of the country is so huge and obvious to pinpoint, there's a much smaller part of it further to the west in Europe that's a lot easier for many of us to overlook or miss, and it's right here. This is the Kaliningrad Oblast or province, a disconnected exclave of the Russian Federation separated by more than 370 kilometers as the crow flies from the rest of the country by the independent states of Lithuania, Latvia, and Belarus. Nearly 1 million Russians live here, isolated from the rest of the country, surrounded by the EU and NATO states of Poland and Lithuania to the south, east, and north, and the Baltic Sea to the west. In order to travel between Kaliningrad and the mainland, the Russians who live here must either pass through at least 2 other countries when traveling by land, or take a ferry or plane across the Baltic Sea and the Gulf of Finland towards St. Petersburg. This ultimately means that, effectively, the Kaliningrad Oblast is a Russian outpost in the middle of the European Union and NATO, who have each been keeping a much closer eye on it ever since 2014. And especially ever since February of this year when the Russians invaded Ukraine. As the only year-round ice-free port that the Russians control on the Baltic Sea, the city of Kaliningrad that the overall oblast takes its name from is the headquarters of the Russian Baltic Fleet, and is therefore home to substantial amounts of Russian naval and air power. On top of that, beginning in 2015 after their first invasion and annexation of Crimea from Ukraine in the year before, and the start of heavy Western sanctions.
Karen. Yes, me and Amy have come together because we've got a few things to talk about, haven't we, Amy?
That's right, Karen.
And it always seems that you're going, oh, I didn't know that. 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 Oh, that's that. Anyway, today's video, I saw it on Real Life Law. He's talking about the fact, because we've got Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, and then here is Ukraine. This is the edge of Ukraine here. They're not talking about this place here, Kaliningrad Oblast. So Amy didn't know about it either, did you? That's actually, like, Poland is the European Union, so basically it's right next to the European Union.
Yes, I had never really heard about it, to be honest.
No, neither had I. But yeah. What it is we were looking at it yesterday, weren't we, Amy? That Russia used this place because it's the only port which doesn't freeze in winter. So their naval headquarters is here. So yes. It's really surprising that they're talking about Ukraine when we've got this place here where they're in Europe. So anybody that wants to go to motherland, Russia, we already know other countries are like that. Denmark has Greenland and, what's the other one, Amy? Faroe Islands. And it used to have Iceland. It doesn't have Iceland now, but it still has sovereignty over those ones. And they can have their education in Denmark. So this place here, its motherland is Russia. And it's 370 kilometres if you drove it. And you've got to go through Lithuania and Latvia. Or you could drive across here. Well, I suppose Ukraine has been a separate person as well, hasn't it? Country. So you wouldn't want to go that way. The other way is to get a boat round. Or they put fly round. Obviously, they don't go over Latvia and Lithuania.
Right.
They're not meant. So we've got this big problem going on with Ukraine, and they're not mentioning this place.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they don't even mention it.
We just thought that was quite strange.
Yes.
But, and Latvia and Lithuania, and maybe even part of Belarus into Germany, may even include Kaliningrad Oblast, was Prussia.
Oh yes, it was Prussia, and the capital I think used to be called Königsberg
Yeah.
when it was Russia.
And I when I was talking with you last night, Amy, what it is a lot of people don't realise that Alaska was owned by Russia. So that empire had come across Europe and it was over in Alaska. And America bought it back for so many millions. It might have been like 25 million. I don't know what it was. Late 1800s or something, early 1900s. But the really strange thing is that it does, with Prussia there, I'm just wondering, because a lot of these old Tartarian buildings have a slight Middle Eastern effect to them, which would match into Russia. And as Russia got to Alaska, it had to go past through the other countries. I don't know, I just find that all really weird. It's almost as if Russia was Tartaria and had everything.
I know.
And then somewhere along the line, oh, we do.
That's right.
We've got it all. It's all us.
Exactly.
And even though in history they'll have the German Empire and all this, it's a load of rubbish. Those empires were a long time ago. And anyway, any of that empire is the Roman Empire.
It is. That's true.
But anyway, it was just a little bit of a shock to realise that there was another Russian country in Europe.
Yeah, I think they call it like an enclave, if I'm saying that right. Like the Vatican is a enclave, for example, because it's there in Italy, but it's like its own thing, but it's surrounded by Italy.
Well, that's the other thing, Amy. I've worked out now that the great... thank you for that information. Sorry, thank you for that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
The Great Wall of China wasn't to keep the Russians out, it was to keep the Chinese out, because that was Russia. And Harbin, is it Harbin, which is well inside China now, is an old Russian town. So basically Russia got hundreds of miles of Russia, so Russia was even bigger.
Oh, I know.
I thought that was a bit crazy.
Incredible, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, do you think that's enough for our little video? It's just that we're just a bit like, wow, something else we didn't know.
Yeah, so I know.
Anything else you'd like to say, Amy?
Oh, well, it's just really interesting, because we said, I had never even heard of it. They don't make a big deal out of it, I don't think. So it's really interesting.
But it's strange, because Ukraine isn't actually that far from it. It's probably about 400 kilometres.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this map here. If it's 370 to Russia, it's got to be 450 kilometres away or something. But they don't talk about it at all. They haven't mentioned it at all. That's just as worrying, isn't it? That is a Russian country on the edge, sort of in Europe. Because I think Latvia and Lithuania in Europe now?
I think so, yes.
Well, there's a colouring here. It might be that Lithuania's in, Latvia and Belarus aren't, because they're a different green. But it means that that Russian country sits inside Europe.
Yes.
Crazy, eh?
Oh, it is. I just looked up Belarus. It said it's a landlocked country in Eastern Europe. So I guess it is part of Europe, Eastern Europe.
Well, there you go then. But it's a different colour. So there you go. So the red one is inside Europe, and they're not talking about that at all. And that's where Russia has its navy. The head of the navy is there.
I know. Yes.
Well, we're just giving you a little bit of information, aren't we, Amy?
Yes, Karen.
Thank you, Amy. I love you lots.
Oh, you're welcome. I love you too.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. What's your thoughts?
February, we began the special military operation in Ukraine to protect our citizens in Donbass and to ensure security of our homeland. Russian soldiers and officers are acting like real heroes. Our military are fighting in a stoic way, fully understanding their duty even after injuries, soldiers and officers continue to fight. They sacrifice their lives in order to save their comrades and peaceful citizens. In the course of fighting, our military and the formations of Donbass and Lugansk showing heroism. And we see a great example in Donetsk region. Fighters under the command of Brigada, they were able to break through a very strengthened line of defense that had been strengthened over the last 8 years. The commander of the tank detachment, during his fight, destroyed 5 tanks. On the 25th of February, the head of the Lovkin, Alexei Lovkin, encountered 15 tanks and 6 BMP of the nationalists, and having attacked them.
Yeah, me and Amy have come back to add this bit. We've just played you that bit of video. Basically, in February, March time, although he does look a bit strange sitting in the chair right now, Amy, but basically he said they were just getting their people out. That was it. But as you can see in this bit of video, he's flying a double eagle there, which means he's Roman Emperor. And look at his entourage there in front on the screen. But he's saying he's just getting his people out. So why are they saying all the things about him, Amy?
Oh, I think they just want to make him this evil guy. He's the bad guy. They want everybody to be against him, and everybody to think that Ukraine is the greatest place, and that Russia and Putin is just this evil entity. They've demonized him. That's what they want everybody to just think of him as a horrible person.
It's so strange because when he talks, Amy, he doesn't belittle anybody. He's not rude about anybody. He doesn't get off track. He carries on. He sticks to his subjects. I mean, maybe he goes round and round and nothing ever gets sorted out because he is one of them. But if you ask me which one I'd rather listen to every day, I'd rather listen to Putin.
I know.
Who wants to listen to Biden? And Mickey said he saw the video. You know, when you look at the whole thing, it's not Biden on the bicycle thing.
Oh, really?
No.
I believe that.
Mm.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in the state right next to mine when he had the bicycle incident. But I don't think they would have even let him ride a bicycle because since John F. Kennedy, they don't want presidents to be in anything that's not enclosed. So my daughter told me that Biden was right where she was. She had gone to a party in Delaware, and she was right near it, and they had barricades up and everything. And then I got to thinking, I said, I don't believe they would let him be on a bicycle.
No.
So I said, I wonder if that's even, if it was real. I said, because it doesn't make sense that he could just ride out in the open like that.
No, but they just look the laughing stock, him and Camilla, don't they?
They do.
But even Mickey's been keeping a bit of abreast on what he's been saying, and all he's been saying is, I'm getting my people out.
Yes.
I mean, maybe he's lying. Oh, the whole thing's a joke and a lie anyway, isn't it?
It is.
But we just wanted to put that bit in because it just seems that they're really gunning for him when he's saying that he's just getting his people out.
Right. Yeah, it's an awful lot of propaganda involved.
And then did you see Alex's picture the other day when he had his hands on top of some paper and you could see his hands underneath the paper? But if the paper's under his hands, how could you see his hands?
Exactly, I saw that.
But is that what happens when you pull away on a table? It's a mirror.
I mean, right, I wouldn't think you could see his hands in the reflection when he had the white paper right there.
It does seem that that's why I put the it's in one of my videos, that picture.
Yeah.
And I blew it up, but that's crazy. Anyway, thank you for that, Amy.
Oh, you're welcome, Karen.
Thank you, my darling.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like in
And
college, or
I
did you
inhale.
Did you
I did
inhale?
I
You
did inhale.
You did inhale? Okay.
She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record